So today, welcome everybody. Just wanted to do something a little different and narrate some of my thoughts on the current state of what prop firms for crypto represents, I guess. Um, I've had a little bit of experience with prop firms in crypto. Breakout being the main one. You know, when I first looked into that, this is about like a year and a half ago, shockingly. I'll tell you my honest thoughts about what I was feeling at the time. I don't think I'd done that or had the time to do it to the person that it probably matters to the most on a personal level. So I just figured I could take the time now to talk about it now that it's out there. Just on its face, let's say at the time, I'm needing some type of change in my life, and I have a background of probably what most people would consider extensive experience trading. You know, having a background starting to trade forex in about 2006. I was around when, before the Dodd-Frank era. I was a very consistent forex trader. I stumbled upon it by accident because I like to play computer games on my off time. I was playing a certain kind of game that was like an economic simulator. So, and for one reason or another, I got these ads for FXCM, and I started forex trading. And I have very great results with it, turning little sums into big money, because at the time we could have standard for FXCM was like 200 to 1 leverage. So I was like very, I was very accustomed to high leverage positions, let's put it that way. And they didn't enforce leverage as in the way it's expressed in crypto, where it's like 25x times whatever capital, blah blah blah, right? Like, to me, when I started trading in crypto, that was really like something I had to adjust to, because in forex you just trade in micro lots or standard lots, and the margin requirement, the money that you need in terms of margin requirement, the way they enforce maximum leverage is by the amount of money in capital that you need in your account in order to hold the position, and how much you need to have free outside of that required margin for any given position size. So anyways, I did really good with that, and I had a good background in trading for like a long time before crypto. Fast forward to now, a year and a half ago, I was going through some annoying shit. It caused me to have conversation with a homie of mine that is kicking ass in crypto, with trading crypto and shit. And he's like, this might be up your alley. So I obviously we get into that, and Breakout is born. I wouldn't say born, it was out before that time, but all the prop firm shit's new to crypto. My honest thoughts at the time was, oh fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because the reality of it is like I'm in a situation where I can't afford to fucking put money up to trade in a way where the wins and gains would be significant enough for me to divert the amount of time and mental energy towards trading that is necessary, for me at least, because I think every person is different. But for me at the time, the small money that I have access to that's expendable in that regard is very small. So you wouldn't have seen me putting a few $1,000s on an exchange and like just going for gusto. And I wouldn't say going for gusto, but even trading responsibly. Like, I think the more responsible you trade, in my opinion, If your capital is small and you're underfunded, that is the number one reason it's not going to work out for you. And so prop firms come along, and breakout gives, basically you get 100 to 1 to your money. So if you wanted like $100,000 account, you could spend like $800-900 on that, depending on the profit split you want. And it's great. It's really great, to be fair. Like, bottom line is, I think the number one thing for someone who's looking up to somebody who's doing a lot in crypto, or big position sizes, and you see them really, really digging a lifestyle and carving a lifestyle out of trading crypto, the number one thing that I think people looking up to someone would say is like, okay, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the money. And the prop firm really fucking solves that. So literally, this is a way for you to risk within risk. And what I mean by that is, let's say I had 100 grand and that's all I have. I mean, putting up $100,000 into an exchange and using leverage to trade is a risky venture. And I think the more experienced you are, the less relatively risky it is. But albeit, there's always risk, okay? And you might say to yourself, well, damn, 100,000 is a lot of money. But if that's all you got, then that becomes a significant issue, So basically, what the prop firm does for you is, like, instead of you risking your 100,000, you could take 1% of that money, less than even, and risk that on earning 10% without losing 5, right? And if you earn that 10% in a demo account, you get $100,000 account. Now, if you're a decent trader, or you have a plan, or you're consistently trading and putting up good results, this is not a bad proposition. That's why it's called a prop firm. And to put some proper perspective on that, if I have $100,000 that I put in the exchange, plain blank period, whatever I'm trading is at risk, even the money that is not used for the trade, because if you get liquidated on a trade, then you lose everything in that account, okay? Now, there's ways for you to avoid that. One thing that has always stuck out to me, though, is you're only... You can limit your risk with stop losses, but with crypto specifically, because it's a liquid, depending on the exchange you have, if the order books are wonky, then you don't always get filled at your stop losses, and you can incur losses deeper than what you thought your stop loss was set to. And that always just threw me off a little bit. So long story short, whatever you put in your account and you start trading with as backing for whatever trades you're making, it's at risk. Whether it's low risk or high risk, who cares? Just, it's at risk. And a way to trade risk within risk is, say if I did have 100 grand, I could get 100 grand by taking 1% or less of that, basically $800-900 relatively, make 10%, which I think is a fucking cakewalk, to be fair. In most situations, without question, is a cakewalk. And, if you get the 10%, then you get $100,000 to trade with. So you could look at it like, I have $99,000 in my pocket in $100,000 trading account. Okay. And same thing, in reverse. I would literally need to lose 100 challenges in a row, which I would, being fair, even if you were a guessing trader, like a shit trader that has no business even trying, I have a hard time believing that you flop 100 in a row, even if you were just flipping coins guessing which way to trade, So it's a great concept for sure. I have this background and so given that the number one thing for people is like, I don't have a lot of money to trade with, you can take a small amount of money, trade your way to a bigger amount of money, which I think is a good way for you to prove to yourself before you even think about trading with your own money. Can I even do this? this is a great training simulator to take a little fraction of your money, a tiny percentage of your money. Most of us do this with shit coins. Yo, I got $100,000. You'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna buy $5,000 of this shit coin. And if it goes up, great. If it goes down, well, don't put in more than you can afford to lose. Well, that it's the same thing relatively, but I think this is just more straightforward because it's based on a skill you can learn and develop and blah, 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 right? And so at the time when I'm introduced to this, I have a lot going on in my life. Just being honest and transparent about that. And I feel like it was a lot of pressure because I was stuck with a choice. And the choice was nearly impossible, but it was obvious. And on its face, I wish I made better decisions. But, I kind of had to choose between giving myself to that and leaving what I do in the IRL behind. And I'm not saying that would have been a bad idea, but me being a super risk averse person and someone who's a deep thinker, I couldn't escape the idea that, okay, what if something happens with this prop firm? Which I think was a fair thought, given who kind of like put me onto it and let me know that it existed and helped me out on that path, right? I should have had more faith in it. But I think anyone who knows me, I'm going to err on the side of caution. And so I had the discussion with myself, even as I had past challenge and had live account, significant size one and everything. And I couldn't escape the thought that, like, damn, can I really put all my marbles on this? Can I base my existence? Can I risk that if something happens with this, that I can neglect everything else and I don't have a backup or a fallback, And that really skewed my decision making or how much faith I put into, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Since then, though, Breakout's done amazing. Without question, it's probably, if I had to recommend one, for many reasons, I probably won't touch all the way on in this video. They're 100% leading the pack, okay? Feature rich, less rules, this, that, whatever. But in the back of my mind, and even through some interactions with the leadership there, they just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I didn't even, the homeboy that put me onto it, I really wanted to express this to him. But I couldn't because I'm like, nah, he gonna probably feel like I'm fucking hating on the shit or something. But, they had pissed me off so bad one time because I was trying to be helpful, because they're like, I don't know how to explain it. They're like some type of way about being real formal about shit. And then, like, when I bring something that I think was very, like, potentially destructive for them to their attention. And, like, I just wanted to point it out, like, damn, dog, I don't know if y'all knew this, but this paperwork says such and such, but this is what's happening. Man, they really shitted on me and gave me a cold shoulder in a way that I didn't like, and I don't think they meant to, or I don't know. I could have been misreading the situation, but like I said, it pissed me off so bad. Because I'm a little bitch. I go talk to my wife and something pissed me off, because who else, right? I'm like, man, one day, homie's gonna see it. But I said, if I say something right now, it's gonna make him feel some type of way, I think. And he's gonna probably he might take my communication as something negative. So I just kept my mouth shut. And I think that's understood now for, probably reasons that don't have shit to do with what happened with me, But overall, they're it in terms of prop firms, So if I had to recommend one, yeah, Breakout would be it for obvious reasons. At the time, I was really concerned because at the time they did payouts once every 7 days. And I was really trying to base my earning schedule and withdrawal schedule, it was kind of psychologically, because the payouts weren't daily at the time when I first started it. They are now, by the way, which is that's the excellent improvement, right? God bless. But at the time, it was once a week. And I have to think through my life like, oh shit, okay, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got to deal with such and such time. And that stuff was like putting a little bit of emotional or / pressure on the way or timing of my trades, because I knew I had to have profit and be closed in a certain window in order to like process the money that I'm now going to need, because I'm like going to throw my life away in the pursuit of this trading happiness, because I know I can do it. I know my homeboy knew I could do it, which is why he like said something about it. And he put a lot of faith in me to like execute. Like, dog, I know you got this. And I'm like, yo, like my boy, and that was a lot easier said than done in terms of the execution, because I'm like, okay, can I have a high overhead, which is probably chump change to a lot of people. But to me, it's everything, because I'm like, shit, I got kids, I got some responsibilities that if I don't make, like, let's say I have a down week and I miss my payout window and I got some bills coming, that could spell some certain disaster for me. And I didn't really want to, I wasn't sure. I was afraid, to be fair, that, if I don't knock it out the park every 7 days and earn the money that I'm kind of need to be earning, but I'm giving this my attention in a sense. A man can't serve two masters. One thing has to suffer, right? If I give my attention and focus to one thing, the other thing must suffer. Like I love my wife, but if I get me a side joint over here and she start really lovey-doving it and she's like, man, I need you, if I try to stay the night at her house, my wife's gonna notice, and you can't do it like that. You're gonna have to invite them both over. You know what I'm saying? Poor analogy, but I think you get what I'm saying. If you focus on two things at once, you're gonna do both half-ass, and that was really concerning for me. And I don't think my homie kind of could quantify it, because he's on another level where his time is his, and I'm not gonna get into that. I think he understands, even if he's slightly disappointed, because he really knows my potential and put a lot of faith in that and stock in that for sure. I don't think I could express my true concerns in a way that was like would make sense for him, because we live in two different lives, in that sense. And so that was really a thing. They since have done daily payouts, and like a while ago, like probably a long time ago, like a couple, a year ago, I went for it again, and whatever. But now that we're past that, 18 minutes in, wow, I can't believe I take so fucking long to say nothing, man. I'm so sorry about that. But I think this is a really good video to listen to, like for anybody who's thinking about the prop game. If you made it this far, you're the winner, and forgive me for taking so long, but I think prop firms are the way. If I were being honest, I wish to God I could just do it for reasons that I can explain now. Because since then, Breakout has been acquired by Kraken. Kraken's a big exchange. So the fear that they would disappear or not pay out it's pretty much a self-inflicted wound. And I've realized that I was terribly afraid as I started winning and making payouts from Breakout a long time ago when I first started it. I was concerned about that. I'm like, damn, what if I just give up everything I'm doing and I'm doing this and then like, fuck, like let's say something happens. Let's say they switch it up. Let's say I get my account banned. And I was really concerned with that because I wanted to reopen my trade group. And, Breakout, they pride themselves for having no rules, but buried in the fucking rules, I found a rule that I did not like at all, and I don't think should have been a thing. It was where if they find that people are trading together, that could be grounds for getting your account taken. And I said, well, damn, hold up. Like, not everybody's as good a trader as anybody else, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but, you know, maybe some people are in my group. And I feel like, let's say there's like 20, 30, 40, 50 people in my group, and I'm making I put a ping out there that says, hey, I'm going long on such and such. And naturally, these people, because they either realize I have more experience than them or I'm a good trader, they follow suit. And if that flags their little internal systems, whatever that means, or they notice that these counts keep taking positions relatively near or in the same position around the same time, it's like, okay, we can all get banned. And it's like, man, like that doesn't sound right. So I tried to address this with them, and I got the coldest shoulder, and I didn't like that, because I'm like, man, who the fuck cares? Like, honestly, let's say it's 30 people and we're all like, I go long, 10 people in my group go along with me. Are we doing something malicious, or are we just trying to fucking trade? Like, that's just like, to me, that shit just didn't seem right with me. Like, are you trading against us? Like, I don't want to say that or anything like that. I don't fucking know or care. I don't even think about stuff like that, to be fair. Like, are they trading? Like, who cares? Someone's trading against you. Just know that at all times, right? But the point is, like, what would you be afraid of that for? Taking into account, like, okay, if I'm trying to build a community around this, like, yo, I'm trading with Breakout, and like, yo, y'all come join my group. Like, I'll help y'all pass and try to pass. Why wouldn't I? Like, why can't I? That doesn't make any sense. That's like saying I can't have people in my group. We go sign up for fucking Binance, and if we make trades together and we are trading, like, oh, they're gonna ban us all? Like, fuck no, bro. Like, we're just trading, like, we're nobodies, right? We're in a fucking limited balance prop account. Like, what the fuck kind of damage are we gonna do with a fucking 20K position on fucking 5X? Like, come on, bro. Like, that shit didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I didn't like it, and I could never get a definitive answer on whether that, like, I gave them the scenario of like, yo, if it's just me and some homies in a group, like, and that's what that rule says, you could ban us, and I didn't like that, The other thing was the whole affiliate thing. It's something that didn't sit right with me about, like, I had told my wife, because I was always fearful, like, the pattern of some prop firms, especially scammy ones, is like, they come in, they find some reason not to pay you such and such and such, right? And this is me being afraid of my shadow, at least in terms of Breakout, okay? Because they're excellent, by the way. I said, man, their affiliate program's okay, like that's, I don't know, it's kind of generous the way it started, right? But then came an adjustment, and I said, oh no, I took that as a bad sign, and I didn't want to say something. I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, again, it was one of those things that make me say, yo, I'm about to bark up the homie's tree about this shit, because this is not sitting right. And I didn't, like, for me, it's the idea of like, okay, somebody's going to try something new. It's a basic concept. You can get 20% or whatever of their first buy. Do you think a motherfucker's going to spend $1,000 trying to get a big account without trying the shit out first? So the odds are 99 out of 100 times a person is going to try with a 5,000, the smallest account size possible, to give it a test run. And so you would get 20% of $50 fucking dollars. Like, come on, bro. But then if they turn around and say, yo, this shit is smooth. Yeah, this is popping. I get fucking withdrawals every day. Damn, they linked up with Kraken. That's what's up, bro. Thanks for putting me on. I used your link. And yeah, that was sweet. So I'm gonna go for a 100K account. And then you get 2% of that. 2. So that math roughly is gonna add up to basically you earning about 20 grand if for whatever reason you had enough motion to generate $1 million in revenue for them. And I'm like, that math ain't mathing, homie. And I didn't want to feel like, I didn't want to make my homeboy feel like I was being ungrateful by making a stink about it. But it did piss me off for a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't it for me. Because it's not like, I mean, I ain't popping like that. I don't have a bunch of people. But what I'd like to see, should I even make another video like that? Maybe, because this one's hella long for reasons I can't explain. Bottom line is, man, prop firms are the shit. I think anybody who's trying to get into trading, I mean, that's a good way to limit your risk. I'm not going to leave links or recommendations at this time, but it may be something I try to start focusing on in the future if I make it out of the bullshit that I'm in, you know. And because yeah, I can look back in hindsight, being 2020, I made a great mistake ignoring this, and I wouldn't say that I ignored it purposefully. It's that, you know, my life was and is and continues somehow to remain very serious, and it is very hard to like take that much of a leap of faith, because if I fuck it all up and I turn around and say, hey man, I fucked this up, you know, you may not get a second chance, you know, or if I was to really fuck everything up, and, you know, like, that's a possibility. I'm realistic like that. And just, you know, and conversely, I may just knock shit out the fucking park. And if I commit to that, continue to do so, and become a monster like you've never seen in terms of trading, you know, or not never seen, but like people that are very close to me and believe in me. Even a fraction of that would be like, wow, like my life is definitely changed in that sense. I'd have more time for everything in my life. And during the times that I was doing it, it felt great to just like, man, I can make money like this. It's crazy that I was that fucking stupid at the time, and I let some irrational fears get in the way, or the way somebody rubbed me off in a Discord, or like, you know, trying to talk to the support or to the mods over there, or like bring something very technical and a legal document to their attention and them feel a way about it instead of saying thank you. Like, you know, that shit just pissed me off. You know, you know, people make mistakes. Maybe I just misread it. I don't think so, though. I'm pretty intelligent, you know. And like I said, I'll test people once I start feeling away. And I'll say, okay, let me see what's inside these people, man. And then I didn't like what I saw. So now that I think we're all on the same page, if my homeboy is listening, I think he gets it now, you know. And yeah, because I think, you know, I was just quiet, and I don't think he understood why. He's probably looking at me like, what the fuck, you know, or just like confused. And now he's unconfused because he's probably gotten the same kind of whatever from them. And I hope it gets ironed out, because you know, I look around and I see certain prop firms, and I'm not really impressed in the way that I was. I know there's always room for improvement, because you know, after a lot of tussle and back and forth, Breakout made the improvements that people kept asking for. But like, it's like pulling teeth instead of common sense, which is the shocking part. And eventually there is going to be a Coke to the Pepsi, man. Like, they better, you know, don't fuck up now. Some people got the Midas touch, and everything they touch turned to gold. It might not be me, but it might be people I'm really like locked in and linked in with. And hey man, there's always a new kid on the block. You never know. And I hope it all goes well. There's enough room for everybody. And at some point, I think I'm going to get back into this heavy, man. I don't think I have a choice, because life be lifing, and I think it's a bit overdue. And man, make doing some of the commitments I made, you know, to friends, promises I made to friends to be better, you know, and lift myself up based on their belief in me alone, you know what I'm saying? And the emotional and encouraging commitment they put behind me with that. So, like I said, I hope all that was misunderstood is now well understood. I'm sure there'll be time to have the conversation directly. I almost was inspired to bring it up, but I just couldn't, so apologies. But yeah, next video, what I really want to see in a prop firm. I'm out.